Player Access, sponsored by Recreate. He is CBS Sports' finest baseball analyst, Jim Bowden, joining us right now on FT Live. There he is. Oh, beautiful. Nice. There's Jim. That was probably, right after he pulled a fast one on another GM and made a fantastic trade for either the Washington Nationals or the Cincinnati Reds. JB, great to see you, and want to kick it off right away, too, with your thoughts on that hot take of the Yankees not doing much and not making the postseason.
Yeah, look, I don't think the Yankees are a playoff team from what I've seen, but I don't think the Yankees are ever going to sell. I think they're kind of in between right now. Brian Cashman has been offering Gleyber Torres to the Marlins for one of their young starters. That makes a lot of sense to me. Look, I know he realizes this team is getting older. They're not very athletic, and he's got needs, right? He's got a need at third base. He's got a need at left field. He wants another starting pitcher. And how is he going to get those three guys, especially with teams like the Cubs and the Padres deciding not to sell? So it's a tough market to kind of fix it. So I think Brian Cashman will make a move or two to try to get in there. But I kind of feel like the Yankees will be on the outside looking in. I think in their own division, I think the Orioles and Tampa Bay and Toronto, all three are much better than the Yankees are. And, the Red Sox will be in a race with the Yankees to the end for that fourth and fifth spot for me.
So, JB, let's start big picture here. What do you like so far of what you've seen? Which teams do you look at and go, I like the direction they're heading at this trade deadline?
Well, clearly the Texas Rangers, right? Chris Young is dominating the marketplace. He's making fun of other general managers. You make the trade for Max Scherzer, and then you sit there and let me get the exact number, and you get the Mets to pay $35.51 million over the next 14 months, and you don't give up any of your pitching prospects for him, like none of them. And then you turn around and you get Jordan Montgomery from the Cardinals, and you give up none of your top pitching prospects. So let me get this straight. You get Scherzer and Montgomery, and you don't have to give up Owen White, Jack Leiter, Coomer Rocker, even though he had Tommy John, Cole Winn, or Evan Carter. So the only big name you gave up was Ronald Acuña's younger brother, Luis Angel Acuña, who I love, very athletic, but you just paid the money for Simeon and Seager. You're not going to need him at second base. So that's just incredible. Are you kidding me? Chris Young is just doing, and he's not done, by the way. He's talking to Oakland. He's trying to get Brent Rooker and Trevor May from them. He's talked to the Nationals. He's trying to get Lane Thomas and Kyle Finnegan from over there. He's not even done. And look, this guy is just so bright. Former Major League pitcher, 6'10", worked in the commissioner's office. All you have to do is look at the first big move he made, right, as GM of Texas. What did he do? Hired Bruce Bochy, who's going to be a Hall of Fame manager, who had won 3 world championships in San Francisco, and somehow nobody else wanted to bring him back until Chris Young got this job again. I love what Chris is doing, and he's winning this trade deadline for me, and it's not even close.
Do you feel like he's making these moves because as an ex-player, you make different moves than a GM that's trying to hold super tight onto their job?
No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think you have to be a former player to be a star GM. We have plenty of examples of guys like John Schuerholz and Pat Gillick and so many others. But Chris Young's just really bright, and he's got great people skills, and he knows the game, and he has understood all aspects of it, from the front office to pitching to coaching, playing under so many different managers, and he's just really bright. And, he and Bruce Bochy know what it takes. You load up with pitching. You don't get enough pitching. Pitching and defense wins. Every time we celebrate a small market team making the playoffs, what do they all have in common? Starting pitching and defense, right? And so you've got the Texas Rangers with the best offense in the sport, and they got a GM that's just concentrating on improving the pitching staff. It's just a formula that works, and it wins. And to go out there and do what he's done so far is nothing less than spectacular.
Okay, JB, I love what you're bringing. So now let's go to the reverse end and see if we can piss off Pierzynski. Who do you not like so far as a ball club that either needs to do more or the moves that you've seen from them are not up to par?
Oh, the Los Angeles Angels. What in the world are they doing? They're setting their franchise back 3 to 5 years for what they've done the last couple of weeks. It is an absolute joke. You think you're a playoff team? Angels aren't a playoff team. They're not even close to a playoff team. And because you're a few games out of the wild card at the end of July, you're buying in that you are. So you don't trade Shohei Ohtani, who wants to play for a winner. Like, you had a chance to get 6 to 8 players in return for Ohtani. You could have rebuilt your system. You make a trade like that, it's an easier sell to Ohtani in November that, hey, I traded you, got these 6 guys, look how much better we're going to be. You've got a pathway. You can tell them we're going to sign Aaron Nola. We've got this 6 to 8 guys we got when we traded you. You want to be on the big stage. We want to get you on there. Instead, they're going to finish under 500, which is all they've done since Shohei Ohtani got there in 2018. Now let's look at the trades they've made to try to encourage Ohtani. They were trying to win. You trade and you got Lucas Giolito, ERA of 3.7. Okay, veteran starting pitcher. You gave up 2 of your best 5 prospects. You gave up Edgar Quero, who's now the second best prospect in the White Sox system. You gave up Kai Bush, who, when healthy, has a chance to be a number 2 starter for 2 months of Giolito. And then you turn around last night and you go get Randall Grichuk, who's nothing more than a 4th outfielder, and CJ Cron, who has great power, but both these guys are way better at cores than they are on the road. And you give up your top 7 prospect and another top 25 prospect to get those 2 guys for rentals? So what have you done when the season's over? You sat there and you traded 4 key prospects. You lessened a farm system that wasn't deep anyway. And you may lose Ohtani for a draft pick, and then where are you? You think free agents are going to want to sign there after all that happens? This was a horrible, horrible 2 weeks for them.
Hey, Jim, I'm going to give you credit because you went to college at Rollins, where Scott lives now in Winter Park in the rich part of town. So, you know,
I live downtown.
You moved from Massachusetts down to Florida to get smarter. I get it. It's cool. So far, you've been right on. Okay, yes, the Angels. But, hey, keep sending the White Sox prospects. Send them all. Even though Bush does have an ADRA this year, but that's besides the point. But the thing is I agree with you, the Angels. Why make these moves? We talked about it. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think you're just wasting away and you're setting your franchise back. So it doesn't make sense. On the flip side, though, the Cubs could do the same thing, possibly with Bellinger and Stroman, and they won 8 out of 9, and they're like, whoa, we're not trading you. Why the heck not?
Yeah, they should trade him. It's the same thing. It's the same thing to me. Cubs are not making the playoffs. They're going to finish in 3rd place behind Milwaukee and Cincinnati, and they're not going to be a wild card team. And they absolutely should sell. And let me tell you why they should sell. If they trade Cody Bellinger, he'll be the best hitter traded at the deadline. You know how many teams are lining up for Cody Bellinger? From the Phillies to the Yankees to the Guardians to the Padres even. I can go on forever. Marcus Stroman, if he's traded, he might end up being the best pitcher traded. And you just saw the return that the Mets got is Scherzer, and the offer that they're going to get on Verlander. Like, you absolutely sell. You know what you have to do when you're running a baseball team? Don't sit there at the deadline and get emotional on winning streaks or losing streaks. And don't sit there and fall in love if you're a few games back. Evaluate your team. Take a deep breath and tell me what you have. Tell me if you think you can win the division or a World Series. Because I can tell you the answer is no to both on the Cubs. So for God's sakes, take advantage of a seller's market. Trade both of them. Load up with 5 top 10 prospects, which you're going to get based on what the White Sox got for Giolito and what they got for Lynn and Kelly. So you're going to do well. And then if you want to bring Stroman and Bellinger back in 2 months, do it. You know, go to Mr. Ricketts and say, let's write checks now. And then look where your organization is as you head into spring training when you're sitting there with 5 better players than you have now, plus you sign these free agents. You're absolutely right. You trade them if you're the Cubs. They're making a big mistake. They're going to end up buying. They're looking at a reliever. They're looking at a bat. They may go get Candelario from Washington. But I got to tell you, if I were them, I'd be trading both of them.
Okay, so JB, I love the energy, and I've been excited to have you on here for a while. So we're going to do a little back and forth here. We're going to take a pause for a moment, and we're going to do something that's been very hot on this show over the past couple weeks. It's called role play.
Oh.
AJ loves what we're doing here. Yes, we love it. Okay, so I'm going to be mentally prepared to be the GM of the Padres in about 3 minutes. But before that, because we have our former GM on today in Jim Bowden, who ran both the Reds and the Nationals for a long time in Major League Baseball. He has been on these conversations. Many fans, JB, we have many, many fans in the chat right now asking about Justin Verlander, and not only your thoughts on where he's going to go, but how this situation goes down when, according to AJ, JV seems to really like the New York lifestyle. So maybe it's going to take some more convincing. So do you have your phone nearby? Do you have your phone near you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm JV right now. Okay. I'm living the life. I'm in New York. I just had my start. So I'm on one of my off days. I'm relaxing on my rooftop. I'm maybe at the pool. I got my 4-year-old and Kate, and we're hanging out and we're having some afternoon tea. And you just made a deal. You're about to make a deal, say, with the Dodgers. How does this happen right now? So I'm picking up the phone. Hello, Billy?
Well, no. Well, first of all, there's no picking up the phone when it comes to Justin Verlander. Okay, I'm going to get in my my black Escalade, and we're going to go and talk to Justin Verlander one-on-one. I'm not going to do it on the
okay.
telephone.
So screw the phone. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go sit down next to him, and I'm going to say, JV, you said that if we're not going to try to win in 24, that you'll consider going to be traded, and we've made the decision we're not going to try to win next year. We're going to build this thing from the bottom up, which, by the way, is not what's happening, but I'm doing the role play with you. And I'm going to say to JV, I'm going to say, look, we got a chance to trade you for the Dodgers. They've agreed to give us Bobby Miller, Michael Busch, and Gavin Stone in return. It's a deal we can't say no to. We'd like you to waive it. Look, I know you like New York. I know you came here. Our plan was to win. It didn't work out. You considered Los Angeles last offseason. I'm willing to pay some of the money down for the Dodgers to make it work, especially that vesting option in 25, which is $35 million, which they're uncomfortable with because you'll be 42 years old, which I get. But I'm going to pay some of that money down. Not as much as I did with Scherzer, but I'm going to pay some of it down because they're giving us 3 legit prospects in return. We'd like you to consider waiving it. And I'm only coming to you because I heard your comments yesterday after you pitched, and you were very clear that if we weren't trying to win in 24, that you'll consider moving. There's only one place I can trade you because nobody else, not the Orioles, not the Reds, not Tampa Bay, no one else will take on this kind of money. The Dodgers are willing to. Will you talk to Kate and get back to us because we really like you to accept this deal?
Yeah, so Jim, I'm going to give you some good and some bad news, okay? So the good news is that I spoke to the Dodgers in the offseason. Remember, you convinced me to come to New York with a little more dough and a lot more on selling me what this city was going to bring, what this franchise was going to be about. We've enjoyed our time here. We would hang in LA. We have a house there, so we'd be in good shape. Problem is, taxes are even a little tighter for me in California. I signed a deal with you. I know the tax situation's not great here. I do have a no trade clause, okay? And I've been a longtime member of the Players Union. I'm going to need something else, okay, to convince me to go over to LA. I do have that vesting option with innings that I should be able to hit anyway. Next year's guaranteed, but for the year after that, can you guarantee my option right now? And then my bags are already packed.
Yeah, we can't do that, Justin. Look, we didn't do it for Max Scherzer either, and it just doesn't make sense because you have to decide where do you want to be? You want to be in LA where you have a chance to win this year and next, or do you want to be here where we're 18 games behind the Atlanta Braves? Look, you need to do what's right for you and Kate and the family, and we respect whatever that is. If it's to stay here, that's fine. If you want to win, I'm giving you a pathway to win at a place that I know you'd be comfortable going to, and that's kind of the decision you're gonna have to make, and whatever it is, we'll support it.
Okay, so Kate said, you know what? I'm feeling great. I like both places. You do you. We do have plenty of money, but I get what you're saying with the Players Association situation and that option. So I'm going to bring in my agent as well. So can we bring him in? He's actually been hanging out here in the back. He's been having lunch. He's been talking to some of his other clients. AJ, what do you think I should do if I'm not getting anything else here? Should I just play hardball and say, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to stay with the Mets right now?
I would play as hardball as I've ever been because the Mets need to trade me. They need to trade you, Justin. They have to trade you. And you can do one of two things. You can stay in New York where you're happy, or you can go to LA. Guess what? Kate can start modeling again. You can wear your fancy suits. You can wear the sunglasses like I have on my Shady Rays, right? we can style and profile like Ric Flair out in LA, and you got a chance to win another World Series. So I'm telling Justin, now, Jim, I've seen this play out. Because I was in with the Braves and we tried to trade Alberto Callaspo to the Dodgers. And he's like, nope, not going. I don't want to go. And they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, here's like 500 extra thousand. He's like, okay, my shit's packed. I'm going to the other clubhouse. We were actually in LA and he just flip-flop clubhouses with Juan Uribe. So if I'm Justin Verlander, I'm saying, okay, that's fine. Cover my tax losses in LA to New York, whatever that is. Or wherever they're going to trade him. Let's say Toronto comes in and says, hey, we want you, Justin. Here's a package, right? If I'm the agent, if I'm Justin Verlander, I'm saying, look, guys, I hold all the cards here. I'll do what I want. And if you guys want to pay me, $45 million, I'm happy in New York. Now, I might not win. You can trade me next year, but I want it done this year. You guys want it done this year. Make it worth my while.
Yeah, I just think financially, Justin Verlander's not really worried about the dollars like Caspo had to be worried about the dollars. Right? Verlander's made enough money, so
hey, everybody needs money, Jim. Hey, listen. We all can't have Louis Vuitton phone cases like you now.
Yeah, I understand that, but here's the thing: is that with Justin, look, I don't want you to lose any money on this deal. So I have no problem getting with your tax people. And if there's a complication for 2 months of the year playing in LA where it's a little bit more money, we'll find a way to make that up to you and work on that aspect of it. But besides that, look, this is your choice. Because here's what I kind of think, just from a front office perspective. He wants to win. This is the end of his career. This isn't about making $43.3 million. This is wanting to get another world championship. It's not happening in New York this year. It might next year. And if he wants to roll the dice for that, that's fine. But it's not going to happen this year. You got a chance to go to the Dodgers. I think it's a hard sell for me that Verlander would make money stand in the way of having an opportunity of going to the Dodgers and winning. That's what I believe.
Okay, I love this. So one more role play situation. Suddenly you flash and you wake up and you're AJ Preller this morning. And you're like, whoa, we just swept the Texas Rangers. We're 5 games out. I've been waiting for this team to give me a sign, make some noise at one point. Is this the sign for the next 24 hours, JB? If you are running the Padres front office, what is your plan?
Well, the plan is the same as it was in the offseason when I gave the most ridiculous contract we've ever seen to Xander Bogaerts. I mean, we told you guys we're all in. That's why we gave Machado the stupid extension, and we're going to pay these guys till they're 40, and these contracts are going to be so bad at the back end that it's going to be miserable. But we did all that to try to bring a world championship to the Padres over the next several years. So I'm not going to change that. Now, here's my personal opinion. I said in March the Padres would make the playoffs. And I said in April, May, June, and I'm saying it today before the trade deadline. This is a playoff team. I'm sorry they're 2 games under 500. It happens in baseball. The Phillies fired their manager last June and ended up in the World Series. In 2019, everyone thought the Nationals were out of it, and they won the World Series. Look, they're 2 games under. This is what I do know. I do know their run differential is the 3rd best in the National League, behind only the Braves and the Dodgers. What I do know is their expected win-loss record is the 3rd best in the National League, behind the Braves and the Dodgers. What I do know is my eyeballs tell me they're the 3rd best team in the National League, and my eyeballs agree with the metrics and the underlying analytics. Okay, so that being said, I believe in this team. I have the whole time. I'm sorry they haven't played together. I'm sorry they haven't won. I don't get it. I'm frustrated. But if you think I'm going to trade Blake Snell or Josh Hader when I'm 5 games out with the money I've invested and the route I've gone down, you're friggin' crazy. They're going absolutely nowhere. I'm trying to win. When I traded for Juan Soto a year ago, what did I say? I'm trading for him because it gives me 3 postseasons to try to win a world championship. Well, this is number 2. Next year's number 3. I am going for it. You know what happens if I trade Hader or Snell? The season's over. Last year when the Brewers traded Hader to the Padres, their season ended. They gave the Phillies a pathway to get in the playoffs, and they got all the way to the World Series. Thank you, Milwaukee, for trading Hader. All of Philadelphia should be thanking the Brewers. What do you think is going to happen in that Padre clubhouse with all the money you've spent and all the investing you've done? And then you're going to turn around in the middle of a race when we just swept the Texas Rangers, who you all are calling the best team in the American League, and we just swept them, and we're only 2 games under 500. We're only 5 games out, and we're not even in August, and you all are still panicking? Are you guys friggin' crazy? No. What am I doing? I'm going to add a bullpen piece because I need help in the 7th or 8th inning. I'm getting Scott Barlow from Kansas City, and then I'm also going to get a bat for the bottom third of my lineup that's going to be able to create traffic. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add. I'm not going to subtract. I'm all in. Do you know I just broke the record for consecutive games sold out at Petco? Like, it's been ridiculous. The fans are behind me. I've made terrible business decisions, but I've made solid baseball decisions that so far haven't paid off. But if you all have patience, we'll be covering them in October.
You said a bottom third of the lineup bat that makes traffic. Is that what you think the Padres' issue is? They don't create enough traffic? Or you had actually said something in your little rant there about, I don't know why the clubhouse hasn't come together. I'm not sure exactly what your words are. Do you think there's something in either of those things?
So, look, I think when I look at their lineup, it was too dependent on 4 superstar bats that never really have come together yet. They've never yet, but I think they will. But the bottom third of the lineup went through a long period where they just didn't produce at all. Nelson Cruz, disaster. Matty Carpenter, disaster. They just didn't get any production down there. I need more contact. I need the bottom of the order. I don't need a 220, 212 batting average and not getting on base. I need traffic at the bottom. That's what I need at the bottom of the order. I lost a lot of games in the 7th inning. A lot of games in the 7th inning. I missed Suarez. That had a lot to do with it. But I was a reliever short. So I was a reliever short and a bottom of the order short. And that affected a lot of wins. And by the way, it doesn't take a lot of wins. You know, if you lose 4 or 5 games on those 2 spots, all of a sudden you've got a winning record and you're 2 games out, and we're having a different conversation, by the way. Now, in terms of the clubhouse, look, I've only been in there twice. I didn't see a problem, but I wouldn't really know. I've talked to a lot of players and coaches that are in that room. They tell me there's not a problem in there. I tend to trust the people that tell me that. But winning solves absolutely everything. So if I'm sitting in the front office, I'm just going to keep adding. If my owner will let me, and he doesn't mind spending bad money after good money, I don't have a problem with it.
Hey, Jim, you said that Padres have made bad business decisions, but good trade decisions or player decisions?
Yeah, sure.
I disagree. They're making money hand over fist there. I know because they've rejuvenated downtown San Diego. I remember when they built Petco, there was nothing there. Now you look around, there's businesses, there's high rises. I don't know if it's the same extent as St. Louis did with their ballpark village. I don't know what the cut the Padres get is as much as like the Padres the Cardinals and the Braves with their battery and the whole deal. But they rejuvenated San Diego. They're the only team in town. I agree with you on one thing, though. Go for it. You're already all in. AJ Preller, you're always all in. Make the trade. Whatever the trade has to be, listen, you're winning with who you got now. So go for it. And if that means...
I agree. The one thing I'd ask you to do, though, just to clarify my opinion of the bad business decisions, I want you to invite me back on in 2030 so I can tell you what I'm talking about. Because what I'm talking about
I get it. I get it.
To 40 on Machado and on Bogarts and how that's going to end. That's what I'm talking about because they don't end well. It didn't end up well with Pujols or Cabrera or Cano or even Joey Votto for that matter. They don't end up well. When you're paying $30 million a year for a guy that can't play when he's 38, 39, or 40, those are bad business decisions.
No, I agree. Here's the thing. They have to get him, though. I know you know this, and I'm more talking to the people not named Jim Bowden. You have to sign him.
Bowden, get it right.
Sorry, I'm used to Bobby Bowden down here. Sorry. But the thing is you have to sign these guys to long-term deals to buy down the AAV, right? So in the back end, it's almost a wash. You're paying for the first 5 or 6 years, and you know this as a former GM, and then the last 3 years are almost like, well, if we get anything out of them, hopefully maybe they're hurt and, we can find someone else to kind of mix and match with them or whatever. They're not hurt and we can figure this out. But that's why you have to. Trey Turner is a perfect example, right? He signed the 13-year deal or whatever it was because that lowers the AAV and Bryce Harper. There's a long list of guys. That's why these deals are so long now for the superstars. And that's why the Mets and some teams have gone to the shorter side deals. So it's from a business side, it just depends on which side of the aisle you're on. Do you want to go super long and get 5 or 6 years and then have to eat 3 or 4 years at the end? Or do you want the 3 or 4 years now and then figure it out after that?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I think the problem is, though, when you're paying top of the market dollar and you're paying that all the way through, then your AAV on Machado is $50 million a year instead of $30 million a year during the years he produces. And that's a lot of money. That's the point. And anyway, I just think their contracts, the last extension for Machado and the Bogarts contract are not contracts that are going to be tradable in a couple of years. And look, I have no problem if an owner wants to do that, if he understands the risk of how it's going to play out. So now you got to win a championship. And my point is also, if you're going to invest that kind of money and you're going to take that risk and you're going to eat that money at the back end, then you better win a championship. So don't sit there at the deadline and tell me you're going to sell when you have a shot right now. So, for me, Angels, Cubs, they need to sell. Padres need to buy.
I love it. JB, that was awesome. Great session with you. Awesome to have you on. We've been looking forward to it for a while. Do your thing, man. Love you, brother. And we'll have to do this again at some point. Thank you.
Love your show. Thanks again.